WNBA Player of the Week. There have only been 40 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops recorded the first WNBA triple-double during the 1999 season, while Caitlin Clark logged the most recent triple-double earlier this week. She now has 102 on the season and is 19 away from Diana Taurasi in second place and 26 away from UNESCO of the New York Liberty. She ain't beating Asia Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way.
Remember when Caitlin Clark said she felt like she was getting hammered on the court? Well, now she's hammering back by leaving the WNBA altogether. It's a move that's exposing some big problems in women's basketball. Let's talk about what's really going on here. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. So ESPN just dropped this huge bombshell. Caitlin Clark is joining a European league. Can you believe it? The face of women's basketball in America is packing her bags and heading overseas. This is not just some small news, folks. It's a total game changer, and think about it. Clark was supposed to be the WNBA's next big star. Now she's walking away before even playing a single pro game in the States.
She's the first rookie to win WNBA Player of the Month since the award's inception in 2010, and last night it was no exception. They were sky high for Caitlin Clark and the Fever, but to start the season, they had a little bit of a rough go of it. They lost their first 5 games. They ended up 1-8 through their first 9 games, and during that first month, the playoffs, they didn't feel realistic at all. Indy entered the Olympic break 11-15 on the year, and then they really turned it around. They've won 7 of their 8 since. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, which, by the way, was the last year of Hall of Famer and franchise icon Tamika Catchings.
This decision is huge for Clark, but it's even bigger for the WNBA and women's basketball as a whole. You know what's crazier? This move could start a chain reaction that shakes up the entire sports world. Buckle up, because we're about to break down why this is such a big deal. So, Clark's ditching the WNBA before even suiting up. Crazy, right? But get this. Her reasons might make you rethink everything you know about women's pro basketball in America. It's not just about the money, folks. It's about respect, safety, feeling valued as a player. Let's break it down. Clark was frustrated with how physical the game got in the WNBA.
Came out a few weeks ago that said Caitlin Clark received 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls this season, and 80% of those flagrant fouls were committed by the Chicago Sky against Caitlin Clark League. And that's what a lot of players and coaches said about Caitlin Clark and about the rookie class coming into the league, is that that was going to be something that they would need to adjust to. They would need to adjust to the physicality of this league. So there have been cheap shots, there have been hard fouls, there have been other plays that haven't even been called flagrant fouls, but when you have the face of your league getting nearly 20% of all flagrant fouls called against her, that is an issue.
She straight up said, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's not just a rookie complaining. That's a star player feeling like she's not getting the protection she deserves on the court. But it goes deeper than that. Clark was supposed to be the next big thing for the WNBA. Her jersey sales were off the charts, beating out even the established stars. You'd think the league would be all over that, right? Nope. They treated her like she was just another player. Talk about dropping the ball. Now, compare that to how things work in Europe. Over there, they know how to treat their stars. The European leagues are seen as more professional, with better officiating and more respect for top players. They actually protect their stars instead of letting them get beat up on the court. No wonder Clark's looking at Europe and thinking, that's where I need to be. This isn't just about Clark feeling underappreciated, it's exposing some serious problems in women's pro basketball in America. The WNBA had a golden opportunity with Clark, and they fumbled it. They didn't capitalize on her marketability, they didn't address her concerns about physical play, and now they're losing her before she even plays a pro game in the States. You know what's wild? This move could start a trend. If other top players see Clark getting better treatment in Europe, who's to to say they won't follow. The WNBA could be facing a real talent drain if they don't step up their game. Remember when the WNBA was on the rise? Clark's departure might just send it crashing back down. But here's the kicker. It's not her fault. The league's own missteps are coming back to haunt them in ways no one saw coming. Let's talk about how bad this could get for the WNBA.
She has lived up to expectations, right? I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For us, just in the women's side of things, and the hype that she had, the expectations she had.
Let's start with the rookie, Caitlin Clark-Kent. Superwoman, you see what I did there? She was on a tear, and last night was no different. Wings, fever. Caitlin Clark set to go as she broke the single-season assist record.
She's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. She's been regularly dishing out double-digit assists in that time frame. Teams can no longer blitz her and trap her.
We're not just talking about losing a star player. This is a full-blown nightmare scenario. Attendance, it's gonna drop like a rock. Viewership? Say goodbye to those record-breaking numbers. And merchandise sales? They might as well be giving those jerseys away. But it's not just about the numbers. Clark's move is exposing some serious problems in how the WNBA treats its stars. They had a golden goose, and instead of protecting her, they let her get roughed up on the court. Now she's flying the coop, and other players are taking notice. You know what's really wild? ESPN is suddenly freaking out about losing Clark. But where was all this concern before? They treated her like just another player, even though she was breaking records left and right. Now they're scrambling to cover this story, acting like they cared all along. Talk about too little, too late. This isn't just a wake-up call for the WNBA. It's a 5-alarm fire for the entire women's sports industry. Clark's departure is shining a spotlight on all the ways these leagues are failing their star players. Protection on the court? Nope. Fair compensation? Not even close. Respect and recognition? Forget about it. Imagine if other top players follow Clark's lead. The WNBA could be looking at a serious talent drain, and it's not just about losing players. It's about losing the future of the sport. Who's going to inspire the next generation of female ballers if all the stars are playing overseas? The league is in a tough spot. They need to make some big changes and fast. We're talking better player protection, fairer pay, and a whole lot more respect for the women who make this sport great. If they don't step up, they might find themselves without a league at all. Hold up. What if we're looking at this all wrong? Instead of spelling doom for women's basketball,
Charles Barkley talking about the Caitlin Clark phenomenon and the people he blames for blowing this whole Caitlin Clark deal.
People believe what we say on television. Just because people don't like you or your personality, they can't get on TV and slander you. It's just total bullshit. These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they try. What is going on here? And the thing I love about her, she never says a word. But these ladies, who I love and respect their game, they couldn't have this thing up.
Clark's decision could be the catalyst for a revolution. Is this the moment that finally pushes women's sports into a new era of player power and respect? Think about it. Clark's not just leaving the WNBA, she's shining a spotlight on some serious problems in women's sports. And you know what? That might be exactly what the industry needs right now. Let's talk about the bigger picture here. Clark's move isn't just about one player or one league. It's about shaking up the whole system. The WNBA's been coasting for years, thinking they could treat their stars however they wanted. But Clark's saying, nope, not gonna fly anymore. This could be the wake-up call that women's sports has been waiting for. Imagine if other players start following Clark's lead. Suddenly, leagues like the WNBA would have to step up their game. We're talking better player protection, fairer pay, and a whole lot more respect for the women who make these sports great. You know what's wild? This might actually lead to more player empowerment across all women's sports. We're not just talking basketball here. Think about soccer, tennis, volleyball, every sport where women have been fighting for equal treatment.
Caitlin Clark became the first ever rookie in WNBA history to record a triple-double twice in the same season. In that game, Clark scored her 103-point shot this season, becoming just the 6th woman. My WNBA Player of the Week, surprise, surprise, Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP, honestly.
Clark's move could be the spark that lights the fire under all of these leagues. Here's the thing. Sometimes it takes a shock to the system to bring about real, lasting change. And Clark leaving for Europe? That's one heck of a shock. It's forcing everyone to take a hard look at how women's sports operate and ask, is this really the best we can do? This could lead to some serious conversations about how we support women's sports authentically. No more lip service or empty promises. We're talking real investment, better marketing, and actually listening to what the players need. And get this, it's not just about the leagues. This could change how fans, sponsors, and media outlets approach women's sports too.
If Caitlin Clark somehow wins the WNBA championship this year, she will have put together the greatest rookie season in the history of professional sport. Include Caitlin Clark in the conversation, as I like to do, but we're also going to bring the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Caitlin Clark, Deion Sanders, all in the same boat with historical perspective and knowledge. And more than anything, I'm gonna blast the media.
Imagine if everyone started treating these athletes like the superstars they are. We could see a whole new level of excitement and engagement around women's sports. But here's the real kicker. This isn't just about making things better for the top players. If Clark's move leads to real changes, it could trickle down to every level of women's sports. We're talking better conditions for college athletes, more opportunities for young girls in sports, and a whole new generation of female athletes who know their worth and aren't afraid to demand it. All right, let's wrap this up. Caitlin Clark's move to Europe is more than just a career switch. It's a game changer for women's basketball. We're not just losing a star player, we're witnessing a wake-up call for the entire women's sports industry. Think about it. What if Clark's decision leads to better conditions for all female athletes? Maybe this is the push we needed to see real change in how women's sports are treated. But here's the big question. Is this the beginning of a new era in women's basketball? Or are we about to see a major setback? It's up to us fans to keep this conversation going. We need to show our support for women's sports and demand better treatment for these incredible athletes. What do you think? Is Clark making the right move, or is she taking a big risk? Let us know in the comments.